I've been studying with Sonia for since I was in my 30s. And so what happened, like most of you, I grew up having precognitive dreams, mystical experiences, but I didn't really know how to make my life happen. And my first time I went for a reading with Sonia, and as everyone said, she's encouraging. She's, yeah, you should do this. You should go back and get your master's in church music. But the biggest intuition that I ever had was when I was close to 40 and I was in the middle of a divorce, and I had such a powerful intuition. It was as if and I knew how to assess it because I compare energetically all my intuitions, which Sonia will tell you to do, keep a journal. And it was as if my heart jumped out of my body and looked at me and said, you have to become a mother. If you're not, you're going to die spiritually. And it wasn't anything like scary or mean. That wasn't the tone, but it was that serious. And so what I decided to do was adopt a child as a single parent. So this was obviously a huge commitment. Just to become a mother is a big deal, but to do it as a single person plus to adopt a child. However, it all felt right. And I trusted the intuition because I'd never had anything that happened to me before. I can't say that it was completely pain-free. We all know how our ego will kick up a fuss, especially with something that requires that much of a commitment. But I knew what I had heard and I knew the feeling, and I'd had enough of them before where I was able to make that decision for myself because I was getting old and now I didn't want to take the time to find another partner. I left my husband, and fast forward 23 years, my daughter just turned out to be this wonderful daughter. I did get a huge sign with that. And I have to say that with most of my big intuitions, big, scary, like you have to commit to this, I do get a sign. I felt like I wanted to have a second child, but who wants to upset the apple cart? It's a big deal, you know? And then I had that dream where I was about to be strapped down on a bed. I've obviously made some kind of commitment to this child. And thankfully, my guidance led me to true stories of people who saw their adopted child in the spirit world, and they were just as connected to them on a spiritual level. So those are my stories. And I think they're pretty big. I wouldn't have done it without Sonia. And I can just say that if you've got all these desires and yet somehow you're not getting them, following your intuition is the only way you are getting them, because your intuition will lead you through that path and open things up. Whereas if you try to get things in like a logical way, I'm just going to go for it. It doesn't work that way. I think the course that you teach through Mindvalley is a very valuable course. It's fun. It's a little bit every day. If you can just get that 50 minutes every day to just remind yourself of how to be intuitive, because we know how life is. It just gets to us and we get into that fearful place again, right? And so what Sonia's work does, I get all of her books because I'm actually a controlling person. And so I need those reminders, and they're so worth it. So I will read every book she puts out. I will listen to a course 2 or 3 times just so I can get that one nugget I didn't get before.